Hi, I'm Suwarna Surlakar, founder of Funminds Learning Tech Private Limited. We are based out of Goa and company founded in Goa itself. Just after I finished my masters, the next thing is you want to look out for a job. And that time the hype was teaching, so we got into teaching. And I started up with using, though my background was information technology, I took up subjects like electronics, I also taught engineering drawing. And that gave me a lot of exposure in understanding students and their mentality. Basically how they look at information technology or computer subjects. So when they got into engineering, their focus was, I want to get a good job. But even the kids who got into computer engineering thinking they had fascination for computers, the moment they saw codes, they had that fear, how I would do it further, what else I can skip coding and go somewhere else, just like how you had that fear for maths. And since maths and coding go hand in hand, the logic which is needed to be developed, that's where you lack in understanding of coding. Coding is not really difficult, it's just another language that we would speak. Maybe pick up French or German that we would learn the same way you would learn the coding language. So when I saw this phase and I saw for 5 years that I was teaching in different engineering colleges and realized that students needed to get rid of this fear and understand the fundamentals before they actually go onto a computer and start learning. So after this, when I quit my job, I thought I'll start teaching them early. But how early was another question. So I started with my son, who was then 5-year-old, and I told him, I said, do you know this? He said he was too excited to do some things with lights and understand, the glow and batteries and all. So then I switched a little higher and went up to 7-year-old. So I got a few kids together and I started teaching them turtle programming. So when I saw that, their fascination was not into writing or typing. Their fascination was, what will I see that turtle doing and moving around? So that created an excitement and they learned. Best thing what they learned there was the maths part. So they learned the geometry also, they learned the angle of maths, addition, subtraction, which they were finding difficult. So the parents told me that they may not be good at coding at this stage, but they have definitely done good at math at that time. So then it struck me that, as I always said that coding and maths goes hand in hand, that was kind of proven for me there. And then when I went further with the age group, I went with 10 years, 12 years, and I had two initial students, Viraj Marathe and Gajesh Naik. So these were my first two students and one more, Hamza. So these were three rather. So when they came into robotics and coding, they were focused because their maths was good, because they knew what they had to do next. And they were completely known and they were like, they knew what they had to do next. So, and they were focused on studying coding, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want robotics, this is what they knew. So they went ahead, they studied nicely, they did everything religiously. They used to come, in fact Viraj used to travel from Sankli to Panjim for the classes every day post his school hours. So 2 o'clock is to finish his school and 3 o'clock he used to be in my office from Sankli. So on the way he used to have his lunch and all. And he did all his assignments and his parents told me, I asked them, does he need a change in the timing? So his parents were like, no, he wants to do it and he's decided that he will take lunch in the car and whatever, and he'll do all that it takes to come to you. So I said, okay. And now he's represented Lego in Thailand. So not that I helped him do the Lego now, but he was focused on how to do, and since his fundamentals were clear, he could now perceive anything that is even free online. He did. After that he came back to me and he said, Mama, I want to learn another language. So I told him, your fundamentals are clear. Just give it a try. I'm sending you links which are free online. Just try them and see what happens. So that is kind of an experiment for me also, that now the fundamentals are clear. Really, is it working or no? So then when we tried that, he managed to do any language online. He learned Python on his own. He learned C on his own, which is, even in engineering, kids, in spite of having the books and teachers, they still need help in understanding C. But he did it on his own. So the same thing happened with Gajesh. He went on to study cryptocurrency, and he's also well known for understanding crypto nowadays. So same thing, we tried into a group model for schools then. We registered and came back to schools, did some games with the kids. We thought of what kind of games would bring them enthusiasm in a group to learn. So we did that, and we gave them props, anything like straws, sticks, anything that we found around in the ground. And when that happened, we were like, this is working. And as a service, we thought we would pursue it further, but COVID came. And we realized that as a service, we cannot move everywhere. And what we want to see as a result in the kids may not be possible in every place. If you want to expand, we may be stuck to Goa only if that happens. So then during the COVID, we took all the time during lockdown to convert the whole physical set of games into box games, which would fit into the box but still teach the same thing or give the same outputs, and especially the learning outcomes. So when this happened, we made a few games and we wanted to test them again. So we again took those games out, did some workshops with the students and saw whether they are working. And we were amazed to see that not only just their that group working abilities were improvising, so also were their maths abilities which were improvising. And that's when we decided, let's pack this whole thing up and not just put focus on coding. They also need to polish, and they are not knowing how to work in groups, because all the time we give them individual assignments and work them as an individual child, individual achievements. But when the same child comes to a company, we expect them to work in teams, which is not possible, because whole life we've told them to focus on you. And when it's coming in group, they don't know what to do, how to answer, how to talk. Even assignments that we used to do as Bobby job, we used to tell our kids, teachers used to tell us to go work in some places and get that money, 5 rupees or whatever, and do some job at that place. At that point, we didn't realize, nor even our parents said that, you go and do that job, because at that moment, we didn't know what that job would expect. That talking skill, communication, and how to interact with that person, how to empathize with the other person. We didn't know that was important. So what we did is we took all the money from our parents and we signed up for multiple people and we gave the assignments back. That's possibly where everybody has done it. So EQ doesn't get polished unless you talk to people and understand the different feelings that you have. And that's the reason why you get stuck to your computer, one thing, because it's friendly, it talks to you that what you want. You go online and figure out only what the answers that you want to read. You focus on your emotions that suits you, but that's not how the world sees you. When you move out of that computer, you're not comfortable with the other person. You can't talk. If somebody shouts at you, you can't take that. No child today can take firing from a teacher. They feel threatened for nothing. We have taken shouting, beatings, everything from teachers, I guess, till today. But it was fun. We realized that we have been polished. Every time our parents used to tell us that until you sculpt the stone, you don't see the sculpture. So that's what has shaped us today. But today's kids tend to go for suicides, a small failure, a subject failure, even less marks, helps, just brings them down in their morale very quickly. So this is what computer saves them from, but we don't want them to go there. The other side of EQ, if you see, when you join a company and you're developing a product for the client, you don't understand the client. How much do you really know what the client wants? It's what you feel the client needs. And then we say, what does client understand? He doesn't know anything. It should be like this. But that's not necessary. The client did not know what it has to be in the tech. He just comes with a requirement. Tech expert is you. And he is the requirement that you have together to bring them together and explain them this is what is possible. But that conversation never happens. And that's why we see all education sites will be similar, the colors changing, and most of the sites look one and the same, right? That's only because they'll have different buttons and colors, but the concept never changes, because the thinking doesn't, the creativity doesn't come out. It's only there as a child, and then we focus on us and not others' emotions. So that's what we are trying to also handle in this box. So in the first level, we are only telling them to focus on your emotions. In the next level, we are moving ahead to teaching them about what the surrounding wants, and the third level tells you about understanding both you and the surrounding. The same thing we do with coding. We do the fundamentals because it's easier with understanding your own emotions. Once you move there, you go and understand writing codes, wherein you are also taking into consideration the requirements. And then the third level where you start developing and you can interact with people to go ahead. So that's how the 3 levels of the product are placed. Right now we are just out with level 1, and since it's a complete new product in a hybrid phase where even a digital assessment is available through games, we need a little more tuning for the level 2 and understanding and experimentation. So we have completed all experimentations required with level 1, and we are completely sure that it's a fully developed product, that we would say. And we are now working on level 2. In schools, what we do is we give them an assignment and they come back with that assignment, right? In kids, what we do, we give them material and they come back with things, right? So we are telling them to explore their creativity. We ask them to bring leaves, we ask them to bring waste and make something and bring, right? The parents sit with them. This is how kindergarten or up till primary the education happens. After that, we tell them this is the answer, study this, come with this, and then it remains. And at professional level, what happens is it's performance that you have to give. You're only focused in coming first, coming second, and you don't want to do rest of the things, right? You have already given up on sports. You've already given up on everything that handles your creativity, and you're just focused on getting those results. But even if you're focused on results, you're losing onto creativity that is also hampering your results, right? So this is why the students after professional level are only focused on I have to finish 4 years, I have to get a job which is well paying job, and I have to get placed in this company. But why only this company? There are multiple jobs opportunities, there are multiple places as a coder or as a software engineer you can take up. You need not just code. There are so many other job profiles which are there for a software engineer which are never explored. And if you see today, the same things are coming up as a startup for them. So when it comes up as a startup, you are ready to work at that place and that profile. Why didn't you think of this before? This is what is happening with them. So we did not think of a name at all till we thought of we had to register today. And then we went through a lot of brainstorming to understand what would best suit our brain work and the fun work, because we didn't want to keep it only about coding. It's fun. We want them to have fun while learning. That's the only way you can best learn. And we have seen that through our results, that when you play, you learn well. And even when we were taught tables, it was always through things that we learned, and we learned it faster, and we don't forget it till today. The other way, if you just tell them, give the tables in front of them and ask them to learn, it's difficult. And difficult to remember. Maybe at that time you will, but 10 years down the line you won't remember it. My team, I came across my co-founder, the first co-founder, Mahalakshmi, who was I think just before COVID that I met her, and we thought because we know all these things are working and it's working, let's start with it and see. It's not an easy journey. We knew startups were failing, and we thought let's try and see where it goes. And we reached a point where COVID came and we thought nothing is going to work, and she decided to split because of her personal reasons, and we had and I had to go further. So I was like, I'm not giving up on this, I will go further on this. And eventually I came across my son's classmate's father. He said, I can help you with this, let's see where it goes. And he liked the idea so much that after a while he said, I'll get on board. Today he is my second director. And then slowly, when we were looking at EQ concepts, we came across together Mr. Arafat, and then we thought Arafat said, I can contribute, let's work this together. We needed accounts help also. So that's where we onboarded Arafat as well. And then when we got our first funding, we hired our 2 staff, and we are a team of 3 founders. I have my cousin who's working as a production standby, so he's not counted as a founder but just there. And my 2 staff with whom we are taking the company ahead. See, what happens is, even when I started before Funminds, I was copied, and I had to change the whole model into something else. So we were at that stage also. I didn't give up, and I didn't say that, because I've copied and it's done, it's over. And I always had those good people around me who told me that because it's copied, it's good. You have a validation. Go ahead. You'll get more validation from the person who's copying you. So I was like, yes, that's true. And I moved. When I had my first fallback that my director itself was leaving, my first founding partner who was there with me, who founded the company, I was literally heartbroken. And I had these friends who said, what are you missing if she's going? What are you missing? Can't you do it for a while alone? So I thought I as a female, of course, everybody cries. We all cried for a month. And then I was like, no, I'm not stopping this no matter what. I will go ahead and let me see what I'm missing. It may take some time, but I will try it. And then after 6 months, I found another founding partner. So it's like, even in hiring, we just have the team enough. We don't have extras. Or even at the speed wherein people want you to say, like, start selling now. You have a product, you don't have sales, you don't have traction. It's also your budget and also the funding that counts. It's also your SWOTs, basically the company SWOTs and your SWOTs, which matters, which will decide the speed of your company. So as a startup, what matters is, do you really want to keep going? That's all it matters. You will face a lot of challenges, and without challenges, there's nothing. Even your job is full of challenges. But in a job, what happens? You want to switch. In a startup, it's your baby. You can't give up on your baby. And if you are giving up on your baby, then maybe that's not what you're meant to do. You have to go back to a job. And that's okay. It's nothing wrong in going back to a job if you can't give enough to the startup. So for me, I started with my startup just when my son was 2 years old, and I had to give attention to him as well and my startup. But then what kept me going was, if in spite of his bad behavior, if a mother can keep going, then why can't we just keep going with the startup even if it's giving you a bad behavior, right? There will be some places and some times when it will mature and give you the returns that you're interested. In Goa, yes, the pace is little slow because the ecosystem is also growing at the same pace as we are growing. And if you go in states like Bangalore or Hyderabad, you may see the growth faster. But what matters is, are you ready for that growth? Are you ready for that speed? Are you ready to, do you have so much investment that you can put in and take that big leap or grow out quickly? Can you find that? Sometimes it comes to you as a blessing. So either wait for that blessing or work towards that blessing. Convincing parents, yes, even till date we need to convince parents that this is going to be the next generation jobs that is going to help in. And with the introduction of new education policy and government giving trainings to schools in coding and robotics, it has become a buzzword for us now. From the kids' excitement, it's become parents' buzzword that they are doing it in school. And it's okay, they are learning it already. Why do you want to do it further? But the same behavior we had when we had schooling system. They're teaching in school. Why do you need coaching system? Why do you need those extra classes? Why do you need to go ahead and join something else apart from school? But eventually that happened too, right? That extra exposure was needed. The same thing is going to happen here. Since Goa, like I said, the ecosystem is growing at the same pace as we are growing, it will take time, and parents will also convince at a point. But if we look at only Goan market, we will kill ourselves. So we have to look at the pan-India market, or the market which will prove us first and then come back to Goa. So not that we don't want to do it in Goa, but it's happening. It will go slow and it will go at its own pace. And our USP, yes, we were copied because we were also doing the same thing, right? Getting the child, training him and sending him back, which is obviously nothing new, but maybe just the concept and what we were doing was new. But now that we have 1 year work which has been put into understanding the games. They are not the regular games. Probably regular because you've played them before, but conceptualizing them to the subject matter and giving you the output and the result, and not making the child learn the game and learn the concept. We've already made them comfortable with the games because they know how to play the games. We're just making them friendly with the concepts. So that's making it fun. And that's also giving them, now post COVID, they're all addicted to screens. So they have a time when they go on screen, and they have a time when they are stuck, and they can come back to the box and understand, oh, I need to know how to do this. So that's where the booklet helps them. It's a self-directed booklet. And that's where the parents also will feel relaxed that, the child is learning on their own. And internet is at their, they can be anytime on the internet, figure out what they want. But because of this material, it will be guided search. So Kidstronic is where we had tried the first way of through story teaching the child, which worked fantastic. I had buyers in Dubai and UK also. But what went wrong was the packaging of the box. So since it was a book, and the components were sturdy, so the pricks and pokes, that's what was slowing down the shipment of the book. But we understood that this is the way kids learn, and this is the way they understood a lot of things. So when we gave it to a child of 7-year-old, by the time they were 10 years, they knew the concepts and they were stronger with that. So after that, you tell them anything about electronics, they were like, I know these words, I know these things, because they've read it as a story multiple times and they've played with it. So that was another proof of concept that we had. And right now we have kept electronics aside, because we don't want just that excitement in kids, we also want them to learn. So it's going little slow, and also getting the packaging done and production done in Goa is little difficult. We have to explore outside. So since we have these box games which are paper based, we are going faster with them, since the growth seems faster here. Like I said, one is these kids which I had, I've seen them growing now and they're still continuing in their process. Second is whoever has used these boxes, wherever the schools that we have gone, and we have told them about this box and we have done a demo with this. So those teachers have told us that, ma'am, because you came, we were clueless how to explain them these buzzwords and also the the jargons that they use all the time. But with this, we were also comfortable telling them what it is, and now they also understand what exactly it is. And now if we ask them, do you want to code, they really know what it means to code and how to go further. And they really understand that they have to care for their teammate, or help their classmates in doing some things. Otherwise, it was always about themselves. So now they are engaging even with the teachers. They have definitely had a change in their mindset, and also in the way they look at education, and most importantly, the fear of maths they got rid of. So about FiiRE, when I first wanted to start my idea, it wasn't Funminds, but it was something where I wanted to start the training and I wanted to bring that whole fear out of the kids and all. So first thing, I went and I spoke to Prashant, and that time FiiRE was not there, it wasn't born. And there was Venu. So Prashant guided me to Venu, told me sit, and that's when I understood what was business canvas. The first time I said, he told me to do this. I'm like, I know these things, why is he making me do all these things again? But when I started putting things on paper, I realized you needed a lot of in-depth thinking. It's not just that, you know where you're going to make money, you know whom you're going to sell to, you know that through whom you're going to sell to. There are a lot of in-depth things, why, how, what, when, and what of the other side. So unless you do this, you don't have a full-fledged model. After this, I just stuck to Prashant, and wherever he went, I went. Then was the birth of FiiRE, where I got a lot of mentors, and I always spoke to Prashant no matter how, wherever I'm stuck and how bad the challenge is. So he always gave me 2-3 statements and connects, and when I spoke to those connects, I first thought like, why these people always criticizing? But then I realized that with that criticism comes, your improvement. And that's where I went ahead and also realized I need more people to criticize me. So I went on knocking everybody else's door, whoever I knew could criticize me and get the feedback. So that is the best way you can improve, and if you really want to improve. So there's a saying in Marathi, my granny used to always say, Nindakache ghar asave shezari. So now I realize why you need that critic in your life. See, there's nothing wrong in starting just after the college. If you know your idea is solid, if you know that it is going to see the day of the light someday, whether it's 10 years, 5 years, you got to stick to it. One thing, you have to stick to it. Second is, if you are an experienced person or if you are a startup and you have somebody who's experienced with you, this combination will also help you to see the growth. Because startups is not about that I'm going to start writing websites to everybody or I'm going to build this app and everybody should use it. When you actually go into the market, you realize that will people really buy this from you? And place yourself as a buyer for your own product and ask yourselves, will you buy this? Will you put the hands in your pocket to pay out for this app or for this product? Why? Will you buy it at this cost, or does it need to be slow or lesser or higher? Or what is it? Even Ford, when they came up with EcoSport, they priced it so low and within 3 months they changed the pricing of the car. So it's not that you always know what's the right pricing or you always know your right customer. It comes through experience. The point is, you have to keep going and keep looking for this. Meanwhile, if you onboard experienced people, that will really help you understanding the bigger picture faster.